Hello everyone, welcome back to Crafts by the Bow on a simple Sunday card. My card today, I've used a couple of different elements and different punches and ribbon, but it's a really easy card. I've used the beautiful friendship set, but only for this one sentiment for the birthdays. The rest is just paper and vellum and lace. So it really is a simple card. And I started off with some of this beautiful peacock paper. Let me just check what it's called. It's this Noble Peacock Speciality Designer Series paper. And it's a very thick card. And you can see how very thick it is. It is more cardstock than Designer Series paper. And it comes in these three really pretty designs. And I wasn't sure which one I was going to make. I've had this since the catalogue came out, but I haven't wanted to chop it up because it's so pretty. But in the end, I chose the blue. But at the end of the video, I'll show you how the other colour cards would look as well. So let me pop that over there. And so for this card, what I started off with was just a base card in crumb cake, and it was 5.5 by 8.5, and I scored it at 4 1/4. Now, I'm just looking to see where I put my little pieces. Here they are. Okay, now I have 2 pieces of Very Vanilla, and they're both cut at 5 1/4 by 4. I have 2 pieces of DSP for the front, and they're cut, one is slightly bigger. They're cut at 3 7/8 across, and then the smallest, like the metallic-y paper or card, is cut at 2.5 inches, and the paper, which is from the press petals, is cut at 2 3/4 inches. I will put all the sizings on this part of my blog, thecraftsbythebow.blogspot.com. Last week, a lady asked me what this one was because she said it wasn't my blog. That's actually my Stampin' Up website. So that's the one you can go to if you want to place an order, or if you want to look at my blog, or you want to see which classes I have coming up. That's on the Stampin' Up one. And the blog itself, although you can look at classes and things, this is the one that I put my sizings on. Okay, and then I've got another little scrap of the paper as well. And then, as I showed you already, I used this sentiment and I stamped it in early espresso, and I just used my ovals, some of my layering ovals. I didn't have them picked out already. Just once I'd stamped it, I got my ovals and checked to see which one was the best size, and then the next one up for the scalloped oval. Okay. And then I can't see where I've put my base card, so I'm just going to get another one out. I'm just going to get another one out of my box. I think it's actually under all the DSP that I've got. Okay. So I'm just going to score this so that it's exactly in half. And I know that 4 1/4 is the one that's going to work. There we go. And I'm just going to fold it in half, make sure it's straight, and then you can press it down with your bone folder or your finger, whatever works. Okay, so I'm going to take the one piece of Very Vanilla that's going on the inside. And you know how much I like my fast fuse, but I'm not going to be able to use it much longer because I don't have hardly any refills left. So it's nearly the end of my fast fuse. Okay, and then this was just a little strip that I cut off here. I'm just going to put that at the bottom of the card on the inside, just to give it a little bit of colour and a little bit of decoration. Okay, so that's that all on there. Now, The next thing we need is the other piece of Very Vanilla, and this is the piece that's going on the front of the card. And I'm going to use the piece of pressed petals paper. This is the one that was slightly bigger, slightly longer. I'm going to put that down first. Now, sometimes when you make these cards and you have two different pieces of DSP, people will cut them exactly the same size and then just butt them up to each other. But I've found from experience that when I cut things, occasionally they're not quite straight, or you have a little gap there, and it doesn't always look the best. Excuse me. And so what I do is I make one just slightly longer. And by doing that, it means I can overlap the second piece. So if one is a little bit skew whiff or a little bit, you know, not quite straight, it doesn't matter because you can't see the card underneath. Okay. And then before we attach this to the front of the card, I'm going to use a little bit of my lace. Where did I put it? Here it is. And I'm using this one, the Very Vanilla lace. It's called Scalloped Lace Trim. And you only need a small piece, just enough to sort of go over the front. And I'm going to put a little bit of tape on the back and just a tiny bit. Oh, I don't want to stick it down on my paper. Just a tiny bit on here. Oh, now it's stuck to my finger. Okay. And then I'm going to line up the edge of the ribbon with the very top of the metallic paper. Hold it under there. And I want it to be in the middle and the pattern to be in the middle. So the beauty with this kind of ribbon is you can stretch it slightly so that you have the same and it's symmetrical at each side. Or if you need it a little bit wider, you can leave it a little bit looser and you've got a little bit of give on the ribbon, so you can play with it just a tiny bit. And then you know that you're going to get it just at the right place. Okay, so that's going to be the front of our card. And I'm going to attach this. You could attach it with dimensionals if you wanted to, if you wanted it to pop off the card a little bit more, but I'm actually going to use dimensionals on the sentiment. And because I want to put this in the mail as well, I don't want to have too much height, else I know that I have to pay extra postage. Okay, so now let's get our sentiment. And I'm just going to attach it to the scallop of crumb cake that we made. The layering shapes make things so easy. I love that I think now I've got all of the layering shapes, and it means that when you're making something, you know that the next layer is going to work. The perfect same oval or the you know, the same size circles that just have graduated increments, and you know that they're going to fit, and that makes a big difference. I used to have lots of punches that weren't from Stampin' Up, and I loved them. Don't get me wrong, they were fantastic, but they never actually married up together. So if I had two ovals, one might be a narrower oval than the other, and you couldn't really layer them on top of each other. So once I found these from Stampin' Up, I've been trying to buy them. I have got most of the punches as well, because I prefer punches. But the fact that we've got these dies that you can put them together, and if that's too narrow, if the scallop's too narrow, you know that the next scallop up is going to be exactly the same size and shape, just going to give you more of a border. Oh, I shouldn't have let go of that. Now, with the sentiment, depending on what your pattern is on the top, you can have this over to the left, over to the right, in the middle. I'm going to put mine in the middle. And then I've used my sprig punch, and I had my vellum, and I've just punched out 3 pieces. If you didn't want to use vellum, you could take, if you had card the same colour as these leaves, you could take that colour card and you could punch that out and that would just look perfect and it would all be matching. Okay, I'm going to attach these with just little glue dots. Let me find my pokey tool, just press that down. Because it's going underneath this oval, you're not going to be able to see it. And so you won't see where the glue dot is on the vellum either. Or on the cardstock if you choose to use cardstock. The last one I'm going to put up at the top. And I'm going to just put it so that it's diagonally opposite. Let's put it in there like that. That would look really pretty with card though. Okay. Now, the last little thing, on my first one, I used my metallic pearls. This is the one where you get a pack and one sheet is silver and one sheet is gold. You've seen me use the silver ones quite a lot. And today I'm using the gold. And on this piece of paper, I just happened to have 5 flowers. And I thought the little pearls would look nice, one in each flower. But on this one, I don't have 5 flowers. I have 3, and I'm not sure if I want to have them there or if I just want to have them on the sentiment. And so I'm just going to play around and see. Oh, actually, they would look quite nice just on the flowers. I thought that one might be a bit high up and it might not show as a flower, but actually it just works out well. I didn't cut the paper specially, it was just the next part of the pattern. But you could also have some on here. You could have some down here on the metallic piece, whatever you like at the time. No 2 cards are going to be the same when you put these kind of pearls on because it depends where your pattern is. Okay, so that's it. That's our really quick, simple, easy card for Simple Sunday. Now, I did say that I would show you some of the papers using the different colour of this Noble Peacock. And when I was planning which papers to use, I got quite a few out. So this is the pressed petals that we used. And then I got Old Olive out because one of the papers is Old Olive. And I really liked this one too. I loved it with this paper from Perennial Essence because it has that same bright Old Olive kind of green in there. And I also liked it with this paper from the Bird Ballad because just those flowers on there, I thought that looked really pretty. Now, I don't have this sentiment cut out on white, but you can see how, I know this is the wrong colour, but you can see how when you've got that across there and maybe a little piece of the lace, let's pop it over just to show you. So you would have a little piece of the lace and then this. See how that green really picks out the green in the flowers on here. So I think it's the sort of a card that's a great template for any of your cards. You can make it masculine by having the Come Sail Away suite. You can make it feminine. You could make it for a baby. You could make it for a child using the Dinah Raw suite. Just whatever DSP you have makes the card. It's not so much about the sentiment, it's about what the paper looks like underneath. So there we are. Thank you very much for joining me, everybody. And thank you to those people who commented on the Blog Hop last week, the video collaboration group that I belong to. It was really nice to see other demonstrators and people from different parts of the world all commenting and saying, oh, I like the card you made. Where do you come from? What's the accent? But it was really nice. So if you're one of those people that joined me after the Blog Hop, hello and welcome, and thank you for tuning in again. I will see you all again on Wednesday, and next week I'm either going to do some of my craft fair series or I'm going to do Christmas and holiday cards. It won't be Halloween type holiday cards, it will be 25th of December holiday cards. So thank you again. I hope you have a great week and I'll see you all on Wednesday. Bye everyone.